Hello, welcome you all. Now traditional machining 18ME641 module 2 ultrasonic machining. This is lecture series 2. Myself Prashanta MV, assistant professor, working in Department of Mechanical Engineering, Canara Engineering College, Mangalore. This is my email ID mvprashanta1985@canaraengineering.in. If you have any queries or any doubts regarding this class, you can ask me through this email. Disclaimer: this PPT has been prepared by referring many sources, which includes figures, diagrams from internet as well as from described text and reference books. I do not claim any originality in preparing this video or PPT. This video or PPT is exclusively for the purpose of education and not for any financial gains. I wholeheartedly thank all those who have directly or indirectly contributed to do this video or PPT. Once again, I will thank each and everyone. Now I will move on to syllabus. Tool feed mechanism in ultrasonic machining. See, in ultrasonic machining, the tool is held against the workpiece by means of the static pressure exerted by a feed mechanism fitted below the workpiece or above the tool in the ultrasonic equipment. The feed mechanism must perform the following functions. First function is bring the tool very slowly close to the workpiece. In this case, the tool will move towards the workpiece like downwards and close to the workpiece. Maintain some very small distance. Okay. And second function, apply and sustain a suitable cutting force called the static load between the tool and the workpiece during machining. This is the second function. See, when the tool is moved towards the workpiece and maintain some small gap between them and apply some static load continuously towards the work surface. So because of this, the tool is continuously hammering against the work surface through abrasive particles or abrasive slurry. The work material, the excess material is removed from the work surface in the form of microscopic chips or atomic level or powder form. And third function is decrease the force at a specified depth. See, wherever the force is not required much, so in that time decrease the force at a specified depth. And fourth function, overrun a small distance to ensure the required hole size at the exit. Here, see, the overrun a small distance to ensure means here is the accuracy. See, we can't do a exact hole, okay, in a particular operation. So suppose if you want to make it a 5 millimeter hole or 10 millimeter hole, the tool must be see, suppose if you make use a 5 millimeter drill bit, you will exactly finish it by 5 millimeter hole, but when you go for a accuracy, some small or little bit overrun has been done. That is happening in the fourth function. And after completion of the work, after completion of the assigning work, Then fifth function is withdraw the tool after the machining is completed. See, whatever the tool is moving towards the workpiece, like downwards movement, after completion of the workpiece, after completion of the operation, so withdraw the tool after machining, means withdraw the tool from the cutting zone after completion of the operation. That is functions of tool feed mechanism in ultrasonic machining. Next, types of a tool feed mechanism. See, various type of tool feed mechanisms available in ultrasonic machining. They are illustrated in its simplest form. First one, I will move on to here. I have mentioned three types of tool feed mechanism. First one is counterweight type of tool feed mechanism. Second is hydraulic or pneumatic type of tool feed mechanism, and third is spring loaded type of tool feed mechanism. Here the figure shows first one, counterweight type tool feed mechanism. See here the figure shows, this is the figure shows the counterweight type tool feed mechanism. The feed force being the difference between the weight of the acoustic head. Look at this, acoustic head is here. I will show you. See, acoustic head is here. Okay, so the difference between the weight of the acoustic head, that ultrasonic transducer and the tool holder combination of this one is acoustic head, and that of the counterweight attached through the lever system. The counterweight is here. The difference between this acoustic head and the counterweight, the tool feed mechanism will work. Okay, here I will repeat, the feed force being the difference between the weight of the acoustic head and that of the counterweight attached through the lever system. Look at here, this is the rope or any kind of structure. This is a pulleys, counterweight attached through the lever system or using a pulley. The force is adjusted through the weights here. This type of feeding mechanism, although simple, and it is insensitive to changes in cutting and hence inconvenient to adjust the weights. These are the drawbacks. First one is it is insensitive to changes in cutting and hence it is inconvenient to adjust the weights. This is the drawback of this tool feed mechanism. Now I will move on to the next one, second type. See here, this is the second one, hydraulic or pneumatic type tool feed mechanism. See here what will happen. First thing is here the system, pneumatic or what we call hydraulic case. Look at the diagram. There is some cylinder like structure here, cylinder and piston like structure. Here one valve is used for inlet and another valve is utilized for outlet, and the piston is connected to this acoustic head, and this is next towards the tool. See here, suppose once the fluid flow occurs from in this direction, the flow will move upward like this. See, the flow happens from the downward this valve, from this valve the flow happens like this, either air or a liquid. It lifts the piston upward. Means the tool will withdraw from the cutting zone. And similarly, look at the diagram. Here the flow happens from in this direction, from in this valve. Here the flow pressure pushes the piston downward, So as a result of this, the entire assembly will move downward. This entire assembly will move downward towards the work surface, and because of this fluid pressure, the distance has to be maintained and the application of force has to be maintained according to the application. This is happening in case of hydraulic or pneumatic type tool feed mechanism. Here, see, the system makes use of a piston cylinder arrangement with a suitable liquid. Liquid means hydraulic, or air. Air means pneumatic as the working substance through which the required force is applied to the tool to perform the machining operation. Now we'll move on to a third type, a spring type tool feed mechanism. This is the third one. Look at the construction of the spring type tool feed mechanism here. Spring loaded system of feed mechanism here we are now seeing, which is quite sensitive to changes in cutting conditions, but it is a less efficient. See here, the weight changes and the spring will expands and contracts, so it is some insensitive operation, quite insensitive operation, and but this is a less efficient. So in most of the cases, first two tool feed mechanisms are utilized, that are counterweight type tool feed mechanism and hydraulic or pneumatic type tool feed mechanism. These are the some brief introduction about tool feed mechanism. Now we'll move on to process parameters and their effects. Process parameters and their effects. See, process parameters is nothing but a critical parameters or critical variables which affect the material removal rate. Short form is MRR, and surface finish and also accuracy of the machined surface. Process parameters or critical parameters or process variables or critical variables which affect the material removal rate, surface finish and accuracy of the machined surface. Here few of the process parameters as follows. First one is amplitude and frequency of vibrations of the tool. Second is applied static load or feed force. Third is abrasive size or diameter of grinds, abrasive grinds. Slurry, the mixture of abrasive particles and water. And next one is tool and workpiece materials. And next is viscosity. And last is type of abrasives. See, these are the process parameters or critical parameters. They will directly affect on material removal rate, surface finish and accuracy of the machined surface. Look at here, the graph tells the amplitude, feed force, mean grind diameter, abrasive concentration, work or tool hardness and viscosity will affect on material removal rate. Now we will move on to the next slide and we will discuss about these critical or process parameters in detail one by one. First process parameter, that is amplitude and frequency. Effect of amplitude and frequency on material removal rate. Look at the figure. In x-axis amplitude and in y-axis material removal rate. Here the material removal rate or cutting rate increases with increase in both amplitude and vibration of the tool. Look at the diagram. Here as amplitude is increases and frequency also increases. Look at here, the material removal rate is also increases. So it indicates The cutting rate or material removal rate increases with increase in both amplitude and vibration of the tool. Here, the amplitude and frequency of vibration determines the velocity of the abrasive particles at the interface between the tool and workpiece. At a larger amplitudes, the kinetic energy rises. This in turn enhances the mechanical chipping action and consequently increases the material removal rate. But increasing the amplitude tends to increase the surface roughness. However, the effect is a minimal. The frequency and amplitude of vibrations ranges from 15 to 30 kilohertz and 25 to 100 micrometer respectively. Frequency is 15 to 30 kilohertz and amplitude of vibrations ranges from 25 to 100 micrometer. This is regarding effect of amplitude and frequency on material removal rate. Second one, effect of applied static load or a feed force. Look at the diagram. In x-axis feed force and in y-axis material removal rate. As material removal rate increases with increasing the feed force F. In practice, initially with increase in static load of the load on the tool, the depth of penetration of the abrasive particles on the workpiece is more, leading to increased material removal rate. However, there is a limit to the applied static load, and behind this limit, the depth of penetration is found to decrease, leading to the low material removal rate. Look at here. See, till there, the material removal rate is increasing. When it crosses its limit, see, look at here, the material removal rate is going down. So, till here it is high mode and now it is a low mode. See what it indicates, this one is the limit. If cross the limit, the material removal rate leads to decreasing. Third is effect of abrasive grain size. Effect of abrasive grain size. Here, see the grain size, diameter of grain or abrasive size will directly affect on material removal rate. Look at the diagram. Here in x-axis mean grain diameter and in y-axis material removal rate. An increase in abrasive grain size results in higher material removal rate but poor the surface finish. The size of the abrasive particle varies between 240 to 800 grit sizes. Coarse grains say 250 to 700 grits are suitable for high material removal rate but result in rough surface finish, hence they are used for roughing operations only. When the coarse abrasive grains, say a grit size about 250 to 700, and these coarse grains are suitable for material removal rate. When we want a high material removal rate, in that cases use a coarse grains. Here material removal rate is fast or high but surface finish is poor, means rough surface finish we will get. Hence wherever the roughing operations are required, in such cases coarse grains are preferred. And next is fine grains. Fine grains say 750 to 800 grit sizes. These are used for, see, wherever the material removal rate is less, I mean they want only good surface finish but material removal rate is doesn't matter. In such cases, see, when fine grains are utilized, there is a main motto is to get a good surface finish, but material removal rate is low. In such cases, fine grains are utilized. Keep on your mind, when coarse grains are utilized, material removal rate is high, but surface finish is poor. And on the other way, the fine grains are utilized. In such cases, material removal rate is low, but good or fine surface finish we will get. Next is effect of slurry concentration. Effect of slurry concentration. Here the improved flow of slurry results in an enhanced machining rate. In practice, a volumetric concentration of about 30 to 35% of abrasives is recommended. See, out of 100% of slurry, 30 to 35% of abrasive grains would be there, means it is recommended value. Here look at the graph between abrasive concentration versus material removal rate. In x-axis abrasive concentration, y-axis material removal rate. Here B4C is boron carbide, SiC is silicon carbide. See, look at here, till there material removal rate is increases and now decreases in case of silicon carbide. And look at here also till here the material removal rate is increases, then starts to down. So what it means, see here the material removal rate increases with increase in slurry concentration. The machining rate reaches to a optimum value with 30% slurry concentration. The material removal rate drops with further increasing viscosity of the slurry. Okay. This is regarding effect of slurry concentration on a material removal rate. Next is a tool and workpiece material. Tool and workpiece material. Now see, since the tool has to withstand the vibrations, it should not fail or wear out quickly. The harder the tool material and faster its wear rate will be, thereby leading to unfavorable metal removal rate and surface finish on the workpiece. Tough malleable materials such as alloy steels and stainless steel give satisfactory results. Okay. Here the shape of the tool face also affects the cutting rate in maxima. The rise in the material removal rate can be achieved by 50% by replacing a cylindrical tool with a conical one. So when we want some more cutting rate, so here to get more material removal rate, instead of a cylindrical tool we can use a conical one. Okay, so replacing the cylindrical tool with a conical one, we can easily get a cutting rate in a maximum level. And effect of workpiece materials. The brittle behavior of the workpiece material is important in determining the cutting rate. Brittle non-metallic materials can be cut at higher rate than ductile materials. So obviously when the machining rate is more in case of brittle materials compared to ductile one. Okay. Next is effect of slurry viscosity. Effect of slurry viscosity. Look at here. See, the flow of slurry happens like this. See, there is small gap between the tool and work surface. The abrasive slurry will move like this. So here the sharp drop in the material removal rate occurs with increasing viscosity. The material removal rate can be increased by supplying the slurry at an increasing pressure or by improving slurry circulation. See, as I told, the flow happens like this. By this way we can increase or decrease the viscosity of the slurry. Okay, here sharp drop in the material removal rate occurs when increasing the viscosity. The material removal rate can be increased by supplying the slurry. This is regarding effect of slurry viscosity. See, in this graph, x-axis tells slurry viscosity and y-axis tells material removal rate. Here, look at the graph is going like this. As slurry viscosity is less, the material removal rate is in a good manner, like increases. In the something happen in the slurry concentration, something happens or viscosity happens, so slightly goes down. So here also the viscosity is directly affect on the material removal rate. Next we will move on to last process parameter, type of abrasives. The abrasives used should be harder than the workpiece material being machined, else the lifetime of the abrasive will substantially shortened, resulting in poor surface finish during subsequent time. See, substantially shortened, resulting in a poor surface finish during subsequent machining. Here, see, as you know, the abrasive particle, the whatever the material used as a abrasive grains, it should be always harder than the work surface. Suppose the abrasive particles weaker than the workpiece, the machining is not done. And if you make use such kind of tools or materials, there will result in the poor surface finish and the life of the abrasive grains are less. Okay. And most commonly used abrasive grains are boron carbide, aluminum oxide and silicon carbide. Boron carbide is used for high material removal rate and also for hard materials like tungsten carbide, tool steel. However, it is costlier. See, boron carbide is commonly used for hard materials like tungsten carbide, tool steel, but it is costly material. That is the drawback. Aluminum oxide wears out fast and loses its cutting power. See, aluminum oxide is also commonly used, but it has some drawback, like it wears out fast and loses its cutting power. That is the drawback. And next one is silicon carbide. Silicon carbide is best suited and it finds maximum applications in ultrasonic machining. See, compared to boron carbide, aluminum oxide, silicon carbide is generally and most commonly used abrasive grains in ultrasonic machining. Okay, see here, note the cutting rate increases when the coarse grains are used and material removal rate decreases when fine abrasive grains are utilized. Okay, see, these are the process parameters and our critical parameters or critical variables directly affect on the material removal rate. Okay, see, thank you.